to Jasiri. So, because we couldn't have our usual catch-up on Monday this week, guess what? We'll bring you a midweek catch-up. All the trending stories making the waves. I don't know about you, but my social media feed has been buzzing with all sorts of stories lately, honestly. Annie, baby.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, it's like there's something happening every day that's catching our attention and sparking conversations. I'm curious to see which of these stories have gotten you guys attention.
Unfortunately for me, the story that caught my eye is the one that happened yesterday. And that's because there was yet another fire in Lagos Island here in Lagos. It's truly concerning to hear about these incidents, especially considering the devastation they caused to those who live there and to the livelihoods of many traders. Now, there have been several fires on Lagos Island in the past month, and with the most recent incident occurring on Tuesday at the Dosomu section of Idumota, New Central's correspondent Aderounmu Adejumoke, she was live yesterday, and man, guys, something happened.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Quite impressive because unlike what I noticed, I'm sorry, there's a situation here, and the building where this fire started has now collapsed completely. We had to run for safety, but the building where the fire started has now collapsed completely from what you can see now. That is building that you can see that has just got down now was where the fire started. And we had seen indications that the building was going to cave in anytime soon. And then there's a whole lot of pandemonium going on here. If you can still hear me, I don't know what next is going to happen here, because it looks as though some of the volunteers that are trying to put out the fire are probably caught up in the building.
That was not funny, too.
So we have to say a very, very, very big ups to Aderounmu Adejumoke, a reporter who was on the scene. Not only, yes, she ran, but she kept her senses and she kept the reporting going. And a very, very big ups to our cameraman as well, Thomas Sile, who was there, who kept his calm and his cool in that situation. Some people would have been at home in their bed.
They would have taken. I would lie to you.
Yeah.
I know this is like a far cry. I, as a person, I believe that Lagos Island needs to be restructured. That place needs to come down completely and everything rebuilt.
Yeah.
Because the houses are kissing. As in, my mother grew up in Lagos Island. She would say that from their room, you can actually put your hand through the window and take something from the neighbor in the other room.
Wow. Yeah, but
the houses are too close. So when there's crisis,
every house is affected.
Everything happens.
Let's even come down to what happened, what was said to have occurred when this happened. So apparently, one of the occupants noticed a spark in their generator. Do you know what he did? He threw the generator off the building.
No.
Which resulted in that fire.
He threw the
running generator off the building.
That is what Aderounmu was able to find out yesterday. So this fire started around 11 a.m. So when some of the crew were actually heading towards VI, it was Johansson, our producer.
We saw it.
Yes. So all you just saw was this black billowing smoke coming from Lagos Island. And guys, we're seeing incident after incident after incident. I have to say one thing. When you look back at that video, there were people who were standing around. Yes. There were people who were standing around who had no business being where they were.
Yep.
I have to give Lagos State props. I've used the their Lagos State Emergency Services number when I was back in radio. 4:30 a.m. on Eco Bridge. I did that for like 5 years. That's not beans. And there were days I would see car accidents, I would see things, and I would call them. And I think the first few times I called, they actually called me back a week or two later, asking me about the person who attended to me, how it was, did I see a resolution? I was impressed. I've heard some years later that it's not as good as it was. But Aderounmu also mentioned yesterday that the response time of the fire service and the first responders was quite good, which is something to hear. But if you know these areas of Lagos State, before you can get into
access, it's almost impossible.
That's why I keep saying, if they don't, I know it's a lot. This Lagos Island is more than just a place. It's historical. It's historical. There's so many things about Lagos Island, their family, you know, there's so much, and there's culture. history,
sentimentality involved
if you have
in Lagos
ever
Island.
gone to Lagos Island, that is a place that is disaster waiting to
I
happen.
think it's a tinderbox. Because aside from the old structures that are there, what we've seen is the same lackadaisical, haphazard attitude we have as Nigerians. They're constructing one shop, adding this.
And safety measures.
You will
No,
see
one on top of the other.
a building that is just like an L.
Yep.
And just goes all the way up to the side, it just goes all the way up.
No
Because there's no
attendance to
space
fire
around.
emergency. You'll see staircases. When you go into some of these places, there are shops under the staircase.
Yes.
You've done it so much that people who want to go have to be walking. No. Lagos Island should be seen as a historical place. It should be preserved. We've lost the script with that, but again, does it surprise us? And you know the influential people who are from Lagos Island?
I think we enshroud Lagos Island we almost are worshiping Lagos Island because like Lolo says, and we all agree on this table, now Lagos Island has a lot of history. It has a lot of stories and sentiments also are rife. Even that, look at the past 6 months, how many fires have happened in Lagos Island? That's number one. Number two, how long are we going to use our sentimentality to cover? Lolo says, okay, it should be restructured, but if we want to do that, that's a whole
lot. I believe the entire place needs to come down.
Come down where?
And they would go to paper, architects and engineers would work on it and see what they can do to look at it, Tolu.
Look, you see,
look at these
wires everywhere.
Look at these two buildings side by side. There is no space.
You can knock on the window.
No, you don't even know.
So how
that's it.
no, look, Tolu, look at people sitting on the balconies.
Oh, wow.
That means these places are getting weaker and weaker by the day.
Yes.
Any small thing that building they're sitting on can collapse.
So do you think?
15 buildings were affected yesterday.
Just yesterday. 15.
And that's because, like Lolo said, they are married close to each other.
Kissing buildings.
Now, if you want to displace people, like Lolo says so passionately, say we need to displace people and then recreate Lagos Island.
Yes.
Do you know what
Where
it
do you
will
put them?
cost?
Aside from where do you put them, how do you recreate it to have the same
Historical, cultural, yes.
And I want to ask, if we were able to preserve Ikoyi as much as Ikoyi has been preserved, because let's not lie to ourselves. Ikoyi is beautiful. There are areas of Ikoyi that still remain laid out
authentic.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, while Lolo is gathering her thoughts, let's go
Guys, we'll go for a break. Please, let's be safe out there, guys. Fire prevention, remember, it starts with each one of us taking responsibility for our actions and looking out for one another. This guy threw his journal because he noticed a spark. That means in that moment, he wasn't thinking about his neighbor, he wasn't thinking about anybody else. He was just thinking about safety. Yeah, medicine not catch fire when I day.
And now,
So, and now 15 buildings have gone down just like that.
The ground.
We'll take a short break, but don't go anywhere because when we return, we'll be exploring more stories. Jasiri will be right back.
Okay. Welcome back. Now, remember, we are streaming live on our social media platforms. We are at News Central. Please use the hashtag Jasiri to be part of the conversation so we know that you're watching. All right. Our next story is the recent controversy surrounding actress Funke Akindele and the allegations of neglect concerning her colleague, the late Adejumoke Aderounmu, made by, I think, the actress's brother.
Yes.
The brother has accused Funke Akindele of neglect, claiming she was connected with his sister and she didn't do anything while he or she was sick. What do we think about this story?
Yeah, I mean, if you take a look at this, you will call them tire where you no turn up. She even sent Pascal to you, you still no reach out. Why the eye service now where she don't buy? More shout out to Rita Dominic and Shotayo Ogaga. They only do good when the good will make them feel good. They do bad in the dark and shed light on the good. So everyone can call them good. Okay.
It's a lot of goods.
So before we get caught up in this, Lolo, I know you worked with Adejumoke. I remember the movie. I came for the premiere. Tell us about
my very first movie that I did, my cinema movie, was called When Love Is Not Enough, and she was the lead actress in it with Deyemi Okonlawon. So I knew a little personally. And the challenge I'm having is that I want to believe that Jumoke has had some issues long before now. I've had the privilege of being close to her a little bit. I want to believe that she did battle some kind of mental health issues, like maybe depression. You know, I've heard her talk, and most of the talk is always about not being recognized, not being given her dues, people not treating her well, and sometimes these things are happening in her head. And when I saw her brother write, I said, I was confused about how people have descended to the abyss of darkness and lack of feelings. And Funke, I met Jumoke on the set of Jennifer's Diary. She was with us for just like a season or two. And that was in 2017.
Yeah.
2017. So even if Funke was detailing everybody, she hasn't been on a set for years.
Yeah.
I mean years. Even if she did reach out to someone and they didn't get back to her, sometimes you can be missing in action. Do you know you can send me a text in the morning and you didn't follow up and I just forgot completely about it.
You knew that you may not answer me for like 2 working days.
Exactly.
And you take 3 working days.
And these are people that I'm close to. That is where I am miffed. A lot of people just started making comments about Funke. That's why I said, may God have mercy on those that speak about what they do not know. Before I know it, blog that carried. The Jennifer's Diary actress has spoken. It's not even about solidarity for Funke.
Yeah.
It's about being human.
Yes.
If you reach out to someone because someone is sick and the person didn't get back, how about if the person does not have capacity?
What do we even know that Funke herself or anybody is going through
at the moment?
Yes.
People don't know that Funke too has many crises. Her mom died recently. She's had marriage issues. She's nurturing her children. She has
building a career.
Company.
She has her own
She
life.
has so many things that can be pulling her here, pulling her there. And because me, Yoruba will say me Oshala Jesse.
Translate.
I'm not one person that would do that you've done good for, that I would lie about it. Funke is generous. When my mother was sick, Funke of course reached out. She blessed me. When my mother died, she did the same. And I know many people that she has done the same thing for.
Honestly,
so if this had landed on our table, I'm not holding brief for her.
Yeah.
But I would only speak to what I know.
What you know.
I'm not saying Funke doesn't have other issues or people don't have issues with her. But on this particular one, except it was something that was just totally out of her hand at that time. I've seen her reach out to many people.
Is this a
but
sense
this
of
brother that is
entitlement?
even
I was just
talking,
about to talk about that.
what is the essence of talking just days? Your sister was buried on Tuesday. You are calling out people on Wednesday.
Can she just rest in peace? It is honestly heartbreaking to hear about the loss of this young talent.
Yes.
Usually people like that are very talented in their
Very,
field.
very talented.
And the entertainment space is such that it's very tricky. Because you hear actors and actresses take their own lives and things,
They go through issues.
they go through so many things. And so these are things you don't take lightly. In light of that, we want to say our thoughts and our prayers go out to Jumoke's family during this difficult time. However, what's also distressing is the response from some some individuals on social media. They've resorted to cyberbullying, hurling curses at Funke Akindele over the incident. Funke, of course, has denied prior knowledge of her illness, refuting accusations of neglect, emphasizing she wasn't informed about the situation until it was too late. But people have just gone to town on Funke.
Is she God Almighty?
No, I want Annie to speak. You were going to say something about the entitlement because that's what I'm sensing here.
You see, I feel like
Sorry.
Where do we draw the line? Where do we draw the line?
There's no line to draw. They don't
no
draw.
one is entitled to anyone's goodness. I hope you know that.
Yes.
If I'm going to be good to you, it should be my decision. It at my behest. I don't owe you anything, and you don't owe me anything. But there's a way that people think if you're in the public eye, you have a duty to help people. No, it's not true. No. Look, we're doing a job. We're just like doctors, we're like lawyers. It's just a job. These are regular human beings. We just happen to be doing our job in the public eye. That's all.
If I tell some people how much you earn on some sets,
You won't
do you
believe
know that
it.
there are hierarchies to actors here? If you are not a grade A actor,
There's certain things you
I know
won't earn.
actors that collect jollof. Me, Lolo, when I was on some sets, I collected jollof fries as my payment.
Wow.
And when you see it outside, you see, oh, the glamour. All these new upcomers will see some sets and they'll be like, I'm a producer myself. I've done 3 films. This film that Jumoke featured, I know I was the consumer. I was because I didn't have a lot of money.
Yeah, so you had
and I wanted to make a film. They don't know that sometimes it's a lot. I just announced that I'm the head of Kiniko. Come and see my DM. Come and pay my children's school fees. Last year, my friends were contributing for me to pay part of my children's school fees. Because I'm a single mom and I have 4 kids and I wasn't working.
So there's another part of this because it's just Funke Akindele. We have that video and it'd be good for us to be able to see that video before we go to this next part. Please go ahead.
On my page, may you bury your children. I think that is serious. Why? 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 What have I done wrong? What? I am doing this because I hold my fans dear to my heart. And you know, this social media era, you have to be careful. If you keep saying, I'm not going to talk, people will accuse you wrongly for what you did not do. You understand? People will say a lot of terrible things about you. And I'm not ready. I'm not ready because I'm so unhappy. Jumoke, the late Jumoke Aderounmu, I met her years ago as an actress, you know, gave her some roles. She featured in Jennifer's Diary. She featured in Industries. And that was it. That was it. Acted a role, got paid, and left. I said, Ajide, where is Jumoke da? He now go back to me and say, I'll come back for Sheni. Jide, you can remember when you come back that they should be calling her for jobs. And I said, where is Jumoke? They should be calling her for jobs. I said, okay, fine. It's my mom. Nobody know what I went through. I went through a lot. I was depressed losing my mom. I went through a lot. I do my thing. I face where I'm going to. The records I've been able to break is by the grace of God. Do not forget, I've got my trying moments too. During COVID, remember, my mom passed on. Remember, politics, I was backlashed. Marriage, remember. Somebody now said you will lose your children. I think that's true.
It's too much.
It's too much. How do we go from being upset and saying, oh, Funke, I think you could have done better for Jumoke to you will lose your children. And you know,
humanity.
We talk about this stuff a lot. We were talking about it in the dressing room before we came here. She's not the only one in recent times. We know Nollywood actress Sharon Oja just shared a video announcing her marriage. She did not show the face of the groom. She's been attacked.
A big problem.
It's become a big problem for her. There was somebody else we mentioned also. Who else? We know this Mercy Chinwe, and the Karabasi situation. Those ones are there begging up and down, crying on video. But when you were had mouth, you had strength and you had power to be accusing somebody.
This person that said that children would die, they would find her and prosecute her.
No, I think it's high time that people are held accountable for the rubbish that they say. It's high time because we're
social media regulations,
out of control.
We get out of actors. If I don't tell anybody, it's only those that are close to me know the kind of challenges that we all face on a daily basis. My daughter was ill. I was going from one hospital to the other. But you can't come on social media and say anything. They'll say you're looking for clout, you're looking for this, you're looking for attention. How many times have I even done Instagram live or brought them into your own personal lives? We would even say something on this table, they'll misconstrue it. Oh, Father is a terrible person. How can you have it? And I say, do you even, if we were your sisters, if we were your people, would you, even if you want to call somebody out on something, just like Tolu said, say, you could have done better. But let me tell you, I agree with Annie. Nobody is entitled to your goodness. You choose to give it.
Yes.
And if you don't give it, it is your choice.
It's your choice to give.
And to some people that have enjoyed the largesse of other people and kept quiet, there are many people that are like that. They'll take from you quietly, but when bad things happen, they won't say a word. Say that they've been blessed by you.
Yes. You know, so Annie was saying about losing our humanity, and
we are.
So sometimes I'll tell you I worry about comprehension skills for the majority of Nigerians when certain things are said. But you can lack comprehension skills and still be human and still have empathy. What we see is plain out cruelty. I hated seeing Funke Akindele like that, because whatever opinion you may have of her for her choices or whatnot, you said her children will die. Because of what?
Do you know just the comment I made? I said, God have mercy on those that speak about things that they do not know. Somebody went on that. Oh yeah, collect mic. Tell us your own.
funnily
Your own that they will use to sit down and make a bad diary every
on
day.
top of it, how is this even the focus? I'm just going to say, how has Miss Funke Akindele become the focus in someone else's passing? Did she kill her? Is she a doctor? Is she her sister? Is she how is she the focus?
And let me, even this family member that is talking, I just don't want to go to town. If they truly, Jumoke stayed in my house 5 days after my premiere. I know what I encountered that I cannot say openly. So if she got love from home, like they are claiming, if she got love from home, like they are claiming, and support,
She wouldn't have some of those issues.
there are some things she will not have. But those are not mine to know. Because she was just an actress on my set.
Yeah.
The only closest thing was because she stayed with me.
Yeah.
That was what made me like. And when we had a conversation last year, she was a bit off rocket.
Off filter.
You know, when somebody is talking, she was cussing at me. I'll call you out. That's how you people don't care about me. I'm like, all these things don't correlate.
Something's
She
going
was
on.
saying things like, you're
There's
stupid,
something
Lolo.
deeper.
I will go to Insta to social. I'm like, Jumoke, are you okay? Is everything together? That was a woman screaming loudly,
Crying for help.
the people that are calling people that have no business out.
Yeah.
Was she not your responsibility?
Exactly.
My elder sister,
what
when
they
I get
doing?
depressed, she will come from London to come and be with me.
Because that is the support system that we
terrible
have,
people.
and we all need that support system.
Absolutely.
I think we just get carried away because of the power. We hear people say keyboard warriors or
Yes,
keypad
yeah.
warriors.
Ta, 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 ta,
We
ta, ta, ta.
hide, we hide a lot behind that, and we think we can take anybody because that's where your power lies. But I think this also, this is a case that is not alone, it's not singular, and there will always continue to be cases like this. So we need, whether we like it or not, we need some form of regulation, some form of clampdown. Otherwise, we are a people that go about like sheep without shepherd on social media. We feel that on TikTok, on Facebook, and all the platforms, you can say anything because you have the power to say.
You have data.
But do you know what I also think? It's not just about you have the power to say it. We see people getting infamous, getting notoriety because we pick comments. Is it not so? The people who made the comments about Nathaniel Bassey and Mr. Chinwo, they had not grown if they were not carrying. The guy came out and said, because he did, I keep stressing again, he's a serial offender. He will still do it again. He came out and said it's not that anything, he's hungry, he just wants clout. Clout has become a drug. It's become an addiction to this generation.
So you read other people's
ridiculous.
lives just to tickle your own fancy
And just so people will come.
allegation.
And then we also need to realize that people are baiting us for reactions.
So you can Sharon not
Because the algorithm doesn't care what is good or bad, it's just looking for clicks and
engagement.
Yes. Look at Sharon. This young lady is just about to get married.
She's
But
married
she just got
already.
married.
She is legally married. She has gotten
Now
back to this
people are
man.
saying you didn't show your husband because you
Whatever
probably
they're
stole
saying.
somebody else's husband. This and
he's
that,
not
this
fine.
and that. I remember the time that Messi Okoje too got married. What didn't they say?
Yeah.
Look at Omotola recently. They will say their own.
And you hear
everybody where Rita Dominic was to be married.
No,
they said our friends were.
Why do they always have this heat? Why do they always have this energy for women?
Yeah.
Why?
Funke had said it.
Miserable.
Funke said, there's a limit to which you keep quiet on issues.
Yes.
You keep quiet, and so you have to come out and take the bull by the horns. Now, you hear some people say, okay, leave it, it'll pass. You're notorious or you're famous for today. Tomorrow
You must get your own part of this on record.
But the truth is that for how long are we going to just
let a
allow
false
things
narrative?
slide?
Yeah.
The longer we let things slide, the longer all this foolish behavior continue.
It continues.
So there will be a point where you have to put your foot down and say, and that's what we need regulations.
I woke up one day, like 3 or 4 years ago. I just saw something on my sisters were calling, Lolo, you are trending. I said, for what? They said the lady called you out that you said you couldn't take a picture with her because she was fat.
I remember this story.
I had to go and look in the mirror did I become Katriobiang? Is my weight gone? To say to another human being that a fat lady like me will tell another fat lady that I cannot take picture with you.
The darndest
And
things.
immediately after that comment, you started seeing nasty ones. One said, oh, I met her at a comedy show. She
remember that
called me
story.
a zebra.
Oh,
I remember this situation.
Things that you
I
have never said, never done. You will
I'm
hear
like,
them about yourself.
Zebra bawo.
Yeah.
How? Even if I was jesting, all my friends know that I make jest around them. And they all know that sometimes these things are not even serious.
It's not exactly.
So this is why you find out that stars, celebrities, people who are in the public limelight start pulling themselves away.
You have
I
to be
remember. I always
private.
applaud Justin Bieber. I remember a few years ago he came out and said, "Yes, you buy my records, you buy my stuff.
You
but
don't
it doesn't.
own me.
You don't own me.
You don't.
It's not
And I don't
every
owe you
time.
anything.
Exactly. It's not every time I'm going to be in a good mood to take a picture. There's a Hollywood actor. He has a bad reputation because he
come up
does
to
not
him.
care. He
Yeah.
doesn't take pictures.
Yes.
One lady came out recently and was talking about the fact that she went up to him and everybody was telling her, "Don't you know that he does not take pictures?" He just simply told her very nicely, "I'm sorry, I don't take pictures." And she went and did stories that she was nice. She was very nice to him. She was very cordial, and she can't believe that he said no.
Tolu, I will sit at a restaurant, like maybe all this fast food, eating with my children. And people will come and want to take pictures, and I'll politely say, please, my kids are here.
Family time.
I really don't want to take pictures or draw attention. Say, are we not your fans? Are we not your fans? If people push me by the shoulder, what's wrong with you? I'm like,
Oh, you're unfriendly. Oh, you're.
and the day that I blow my gasket, my PA at that time will be holding me. Calm down. I said, madam, I do not want to take a picture. What is it?
And it should be okay.
And it should be
Celebrities are
okay.
human beings.
Oh man,
Celebrities are human beings.
Annie, you have the last statement on this.
Celebrities are human beings.
Take your last word, girl.
Because if you leave us, we will continue.
We'll continue.
But there's still another story we need to go to before we go on a break. And I'm very sure we all remember Betty Edu. Right now, all I'm doing is bettering her education. But anyway, the Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Alleviation Minister, who was suspended in January over the alleged diversion of some $640,000 of public money into a bank account, now recent reports say that the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission has uncovered a staggering 30 billion naira and is currently investigating 50 bank accounts linked to her.
But Tolu, I thought there's an update that TFCC said that they are not.
These updates. We'll have laws and regulations guiding our investigations. Nigerians will also know that they are already on suspension.
This woman.
And this is based on the investigations we have done. And President Bola Ahmed, what?
Yeah.
And President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has proved to Nigerians that he's ready to fight corruption. Moreover, with respect to this particular case, we have recovered over 30 billion naira, which is already in the coffers of the federal government. It takes time to conclude investigations. We started this matter less than 6 weeks ago. There are cases that take years to investigate, and there's so many angles to it. And we need to follow through some of the discoveries that we have seen. Nigerians should give us time on this matter. We have professionals on the case, and they need to do things right. There are so many leads here and there. As it is now, we're investigating over 50 bank accounts.
Wow.
Tolu? Why? Which one is turn it to Tolu and say Tolu's
Give
name?
us your bougie.
I don't have a bougie take on
Your
this.
bougie take. But
I don't have a
when you
bougie
had
take on
decided to
this.
do it, honestly, we are good at everything.
They say if you're going to eat a frog,
You eat the one that has eggs.
Man, I don't know why this time I'm not sold. Listen, for me, I'm always looking at a bigger picture, the story behind the story, the picture behind the picture. Maybe, you know, as a creative, no, I don't like the look I gave him.
Baby girl, I'm waiting for your take. I feed off it.
I don't know.
It's too much. Honestly, it's mind blowing.
What?
Because if somebody had just worked for that short a time
and was able to cut
and
away
was
that
able
much.
to be roped into these kinds of allegations, I just want to believe that she doesn't know her onions, or she has offended somebody high up. Because look,
This is just
it's just like you fell and your underskirt came out.
Underskirt, I love it.
But you know, for me, when Lolo said this is a lot. Yes. I hope you know it's not. Compared to the amount, thank you. Compared to amount of things that people
like that in Ikoyi, that the whistleblower blew.
That the house did not fall. It didn't fall at all. Did not fall. This is so. It's not an excuse not to say, oh, because it's small, we should overlook it. This is
30 billion for the
amount of things.
If you do
30
billion for the account, if you do gang thing, 30 billion gang.
I'm tired of you people. But they said they need time to conclude investigations. And I will always say this: she's at the top. She's the minister. this is not done alone. If she's guilty, the other people have been guilty before.
Guilty as well.
It is never done alone. So who are the civil servants? Who are the people in the ministry, wherever, who make these things possible?
So if you're saying that you're clamping down or you're looking at her as the head, there are other people that, I mean, it's like a human head. There are other things that support the head, huh? So if you see her as the head, there are other things, other factors that play in here. Let's hope that the EFCC will be brave enough, the way they came out with this girl. The brave and they wove a very deliciously written story. It's great to the ears.
You know, it takes years. There are times you will hear, especially with some former governors,
but in 6 weeks,
this is suspended. Meanwhile, that former governor somehow in the suspension finds his way to the National Assembly.
Now, this is 6 weeks, and see what they've come up with so far, and this is in 6 weeks. So, you know, you 12 weeks the story. Why are you guys in a hurry? Like in 6 weeks, you've done this. You've said it for yourselves that it takes years sometimes. Is it because it's a woman now that it's taking 6 weeks? Sometimes it could take longer. It could take 1 year, 2 years. There'll be so many factors that they would be in a hurry to enumerate to us.
Yes.
What is stalling the investigation?
But
it's not stalling.
It's not stalling.
It's taking a while.
We don't know why, but it's
Catherine's not agreeing with us.
They are already in the investigation. But when it's men, they will slow the investigation.
So investigation take years. A particular person is put out there and there's a lot of spotlight on them because we all know almost everyone in government is doing something. So for me, I feel like when they're trying to get you to focus in one place or one place,
put darkness in other places.
Somewhere else.
It's a slight, you know how we see all these streets magicians and everything, and everybody wants to say it's not. It's a sleight of hand. Focus on this hand. Don't ask me what this hand is doing.
Oh, well, I can do something now.
Hey. Oh, I can do something. Is that the right song? Is that the right song?
30 billion for the account, yo. But
we're going to go on a quick break now. But when we come back, we will discuss a tragic story coming out of China that is making all of us think. Please stay with us.
All right, welcome back. You're watching Jasiri here on News Central. Our next story is sure to get you thinking. It's heartbreaking to hear about what happened to that young boy. Our hearts go out to his family and loved ones. Now, for those of you who may not be aware, 3 children are facing the death penalty for allegedly beating their 13-year-old classmate to death. It's a chilling reminder of harsh realities that teenagers of today are facing.
So let's just add some more details to it. Now, the 3 suspects, who were all under 14 at the time of the murder, are accused of bullying a 13-year-old middle school classmate surnamed Wang over a long period before killing him last month. Now, the details of the case, they also reportedly buried his body in an abandoned greenhouse. It was also something that has now drawn a lot of controversy and conversation in China as well as around the world. People are worried about how their children are turning out. Whether you're in China, you're in the US, you're in the UK, you're in Nigeria, you're in Rwanda, you're in South Africa, you're in Ghana. There are issues with the generation. I don't know.
Yes.
How can generation is losing empathy?
It almost has almost lost it. We are apathetic and we don't see how bad it can get. But when you look at stories like this is the reality. Yes. When a person cannot feel another human being's pain or suffering, it never ends well. It never ends well.
3 children come together. You have an agreement, and you say you want to kill this child, and you take the child to bury in it.
Do you know what you're thinking through this?
14.
You're thinking through this.
We're not whether we like it or not, our environment is becoming very toxic and wicked.
Yes.
These pictures that you're talking about. Just watch 3 or 4 films and you can almost murder anyone.
Yeah.
You will be taught from start to finish how to do some of these things.
And how the villains
evil is wearing a younger and younger faces.
Yeah.
And our children are lacking empathy. Look at this generation of keyboard warriors. They don't know what it means to feel.
No.
Sometimes you have to explain emotions to some children. that you're hurting me.
While they look at you deadpan,
And
like,
they're
what are you
deadpan,
talking
like,
about?
It's not. Is
Like,
that
what
not
are you
one of
saying?
the traits of being a psychopath? Is a lack of empathy, a lack of social.
Do you remember that time that they had one game that something about, is it the long man or something that? I can't.
So games are also part of this. If you
So
look at
many violent games.
child violence,
of conditioning people.
and do we think that as parents, we're not? I know we talk about this. It's never enough. We talk about this all the time on Jasiri, but when you have cases like this, you have to revisit it.
Yes.
Do you think parents are not doing enough?
Yes. So wait, before you answer, let me give you some more details that might shed light on that and make people think. So part of the issue is that these 3 boys who are accused of murder are what they call in China left behind, children that are left behind. And that's because they were left in the countryside with family members while their parents went to the cities to work. Now in China, data from 2020 shows that there are nearly 67 million children who are left behind children, and they have greater issues or higher risk of mental health problems, criminal behavior, and being bullied. Let's bring it home. Do you know how many people, how Nigerians, I will say farm, because that's what we do. We farm out our children.
Oh yeah.
You send a child to live with a family member
or a friend.
You leave your child with grandma somewhere. Your friend that came yesterday was talking about a woman who had 3 kids. The 7-year-old was left with family members. 7-year-old is already smoking.
Yeah. Yes.
Needs 7.
7, because she couldn't cater for the children, so she took it to the family of the family to help her take care of.
So you said that the parents
being with your parents being
guiding and raising you. Absolutely.
And listen, you cannot, this is not given, c'est pas donné à tout le monde. Je dis ça tous les jours sur cette émission.
I like how Annie is not.
Je te dis, c'est pas donné à tout le monde. It's not by force.
It is not everyone's job.
Yes, that you have a child. You don't have to be a mother if you're not ready to be a father. Or a father if you're not ready to be a father.
I'm going to bring up a story that is a bit, I think, a very sensitive story, but I'm bringing it up because I don't know that anything was ever done about it. We're talking about children killing children. We're all aware about this young boy, I think it was last year or maybe 2 years ago, that was killed in his school.
Yes.
I can't remember his last name. Oh, thank you. And the school tried to cover it up. Everybody tried to cover it up. But I'm going to the parents of the children that were accused. Many of them took their children out of the country. Don't we know that these things happen? So we're saying this: you enable your child to get away with bad behavior. When a child shows signs that I am better than others, I am more important than others, I get what I want, I cannot be told no, you need to look out for these things and cut them immediately, because it leads to a lack of empathy.
There are so many mistakes that parents are making. If you look at grade A schools, you are paying for your children to be indisciplined, not to have any order. I made a decision that I can suffer myself and send my children to grade A schools. But you find out that you are the one paying for this heavy tuition, but them to be your children cannot be really corrected. No, when your children are paying over 2 million every term,
no teacher can tell them a thing.
No teacher. I told you of harrowing stories that come from school, and when counselors go back to them that talk to the parents say they are trying to victimize my child. So we remove our funding, and school will say, please, we will never do that again. And we keep talking about training our children. You forget that when you train your children, how long do our children really stay with us?
18.
In this time.
Not even 18, because in Nigeria, we're sending 16 and 17-year-olds to university.
So that means that your child can actually learn in the 7 or 6 hours they stay in school.
Oh, yes.
With other people's children.
Oh, yes.
And now that we're even getting into stranger times, where children can bring guns to school, knives to school,
when children make weapons.
You guys are going to the internet. Physical violence. I'm always thinking about the drug issue we have. Even here in Lagos State, we have issues with cults being able to penetrate secondary schools.
What are you
talking about?
You know, I would see some things and I would be like, I know, I tell my friends, they laugh. I said, having children in this generation is a sacrifice. It's a lot of responsibilities. If you know you cannot give,
just leave it.
Please do not. That's why I make no mistake. I tell my children, oh her. I sacrifice for them and I serve them because they didn't ask to be born. I tell my children all the time that it is your right to demand an education from me. It's your right to demand food and clothing because I'm your parent. I'm the one that said I want to have you. So if you know you can't, Just
don't go
I
there.
remember the story a few years ago. I can't remember, but it was here in Lagos State, and it was a school. I don't know if it was a boys' school and a girls' school, but it was boys who would wait after school, and when girls were passing, they would sexually harass them.
Oh, of course.
And then it led to an issue. I think it was an attempted rape that actually blew the story up. And I just think about we're seeing crime trickle down. There's something that China did that I find quite interesting. So China actually changed the age of criminal responsibility. So before, the age for criminal responsibility, the international norm is 14. China changed it to 12. So at 12 years old, you can face the death penalty. Ask me why.
Why?
They changed it because there was a boy at 13 years old who was accused of murdering his 8-year-old neighbor.
Sister, what are we seeing now today that is different?
We're talking about it like we're sharing biscuits.
Are facing the death
another
penalty.
person.
You're facing it. Let's be honest and let's get sentiments out of the way. These children, if you can organize yourself. And
plan a murder
and bury.
The father said he was so disfigured he couldn't recognize his son. The father himself is asking for the death penalty for these children.
That's how badly they
What
beat him.
kind of anger would have taken
Except you don't have when I look at
It's not a funny thing.
You know, when I look at my child every day, every parent now, we need to continually be. You can't say because you love your children, you're just going to pamper them into destruction.
No.
And there are so many ways you must tell your children.
My dear, it's not by force to born 3, 4. If one is okay for you, please just stay with that one and no. Listen,
tell your children
not
no.
a race. It's not
and whatever you believe in, whatever higher power you believe in, because we can do all we can do, but a lot of it is by grace.
Very true.
Whatever higher power you believe
That
in,
your child doesn't fall into the wrong hands.
Ladies, let's try to lighten the. It's been heavy. Let's try to lighten the conversation before we go. I don't know how much lighter this. Well, it's much lighter anyway. But I stumbled upon a post on X, and this brave female user on X stood her ground and told a guy she did not want to date him because he was mean to her. And you won't believe his response. Now, instead of taking it like a mature adult, he tried to brush it off as her being influenced by social media. Talk about gaslighting. So the lady says, I told this guy I didn't want to date him because he's mean to me. I want to be with someone who's soft and gentle with me. And he told me I'm being influenced by social media. Laugh LMAOO. I can't say it. I'm influenced by my parents, but whatever helps you sleep at night. I'm very sure that that influence by social media is him trying to say, so you're being influenced by these feminists. Yes. But I love her response. I'm influenced by my parents. And it comes back to a lot of things we've been saying. Your first understanding of relationships, of family connections, of how it should be between a man and a woman, your parents. Your first relationship with money, your parents. Your first relationship with so many things that will lay a foundation for how you approach it. Your parents.
Is enough. Attitude is enough.
Yes.
To reject someone.
Yeah.
If you're not nice to me,
life is
I'm gonna run from you.
I should not be outside and fighting for my life and my career, and then I come home and I can't come home to softness and gentleness.
Man, I have to. You choose what you want. It's like going for a buffet. My dear, you can have a la carte. If you want to go local and you will find Toulouse granite soup there. You carry it. It's a la carte. It's a buffet.
You know, one of the best parts was when another ex-user chimed in with her own epic clapback, and I love epic clapbacks, especially
from women
when they come from women.
Yes.
I want to say it because women have been silent for so long. But let me get back to it. The clapback was she was saying that to the dude who said that he or the girl was going to be sad if she's alone and blah 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 blah. She said, "Listen." She shut him down and said, "Everyone in my house will be nice to me, even if I'm the only person in there." Be nice to yourself. When you say train a child in the way they should go, it is not just about how to read Bible verses. It is training their self-esteem, their confidence,
setting standards
their
and
identities, knowing how to have and express boundaries.
Yes.
Do you know that I'm sorry, I feel like in this country especially, we don't do good with boundaries. We take boundaries as a personal affront. You're being rude. You can't say no to certain people.
No, and we expect women to be the ones without boundaries.
Yes.
I'm so sorry, I'll say it. We expect a lot of times. So I do something. So this is a reply. She also said, I said the same to a guy, and he said, well, you're going to be sad if you're alone or sad if you're with me. So you might as well be with me. And that's how she now responded. Everyone in my house will be nice to me, even if I'm the only person here. Yeah. So there was something our guest yesterday said, DJ Gospel, and I'll take it as gospel truth, about teaching his daughters to have standards. Right now, I'll call it sport. but she spoke because I want her to have standards.
Yes.
You're not going to approach and do anything to my daughter because we've done it.
Yes.
We travel.
Yes.
Is it what are you? Is it experience?
You have some dusty body come and say, "Oh, you're beautiful," and then all of a sudden the girl is floating away because someone said you're beautiful.
Because she's not heard that. How many girls and boys will say do not have their self-esteem reinforced at home?
House.
Exactly.
And then Kore Day is now Taurus. Me.
Come on.
I'm waiting. Listen, I'm not worried. She came correct. That child has come correct.
I wanted to order a robe for my sister. My sister is sending it. I said, you know what, please just help me. It's a nice silky kimono robe. Because if I buy, Mommy, where's my please?
Fantastic.
The little sassy girl was, every day I tell her, I said, please, darling, when I was growing up, I was such a church girl that I didn't have a lot of street smartness.
Yeah.
And it affected me till now. I'm a late bloomer. The things that I'm still oohing and eyeing over are the things that people have gotten over it in their secondary school. I didn't have such exposure. But I tell my daughter every day, I tell her the power of choice. I said, these are the things you can do. But these are the consequences that can come with them. So if you really want to choose, are you ready for this? If you start having sex in your secondary school, do you want to start being afraid of your period coming every day? Do you want to give me a grandchild at this time? Do you want your life to be truncated because you have to
basically every action has a consequence.
So once you have looked at it, you weigh it, then you choose. And we have intelligent conversations about boys and everything. So why don't you want to date? Say, Mommy, I'm just trying to get to know me so I will know what I want.
Good girl. We're proud of you. We're very, very proud of you.
That's proud of you. I don't want to add to that, otherwise we'll be
we'll continue
forever on the show. But that's it. Every action has consequence, guys. I hope you enjoyed today's show. I loved every bit of it. Time ran past us. Let's do this again tomorrow. From me and the ladies.
All right. Why were you not running? Why were you not running?